MLB The Show 25 changed the game with captains and theme teams in their latest update, and they are way better than they were before. And we're going to talk about how you can utilize captains and theme teams to the best ability to make your team even greater. Let me know in the comment section down below some of your favorite theme teams in the game so far. Who are you guys running? Leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. In a new update, MLB The Show put out Team Affinity Color Storm, giving 30 cards, one for every team. And while lots of them are very good, they're also captain cards, which boost other players from that same team. But different from this time from the first captain set is these boosts are dynamic. They're not the same plain Jane boost across the board. Every player, every team is a little bit different. And you should also notice that all captains now are going to boost players 95 overall and lower. Prior, it was just 91. And some of these theme teams get pretty crazy. Now, the Minnesota Twins, no bias here, I think are one of the best ones. They've got Royce Lewis, who offers +8 power versus both sides, +8 plate vision, and 12 BB9. Now, every team is a little bit different. It's a balancing act. So the Twins, they offer +8. The Yankees offer +5s. The Marlins, I think, is like +20s. It really depends on how good the theme team is at the current point, and really whatever the hell SDS decided to give you. Because there's absolutely some teams that got screwed, and we're going to talk about that. And what's great about the Twins is they've got a pitcher and a hitter captain. You cannot run two hitter captains or two pitcher captains concurrently. You need one of each. So you get both the buffs. You get the +8 power, vision, and 12 BB9, and you also get the +8 contact, clutch, and 12 hits per 9 with using 18 Twins or more, 95 or lower. So for example, you get Byron Buxton, a very good card in his own right, my version at parallel 4. And then you look at the boost that he gets for Royce Lewis and Jim Kaat. All the hitting is basically up by 8. So that parallel 4 I had him is now like a parallel 12 on the hitting attributes. It really transforms a lot of these cards and makes them so much better. And overall, the Twins theme team gets pretty good. You go down the board, you've got a good Walker Jenkins. Harmon Killebrew is one of the better hitting cards in the game with this captain boost. Royce Lewis makes himself way better. Brian Dozier, who's got lower vision, you get +8 on top of contact, power, and clutch. Even a gold card becomes a little bit more usable after the captain boost. However, the problem you'll notice here for lots of teams is the pitching just is not great, and the Twins actually have some pretty good pitchers considering the meta. They've got this Danny Coulomb, who's one of the best, if not the best, left-handed reliever. They've got some guys with good pitch mixes like Justin Topa, Cole Sands, Brock Stewart, Griffin Jacks, but their attributes still just do not get quite high enough, and they don't get really any K per 9 with the Royce Lewis or Jim Kaat boost. And the same could kind of be said for starting pitching. It really is not that bad, but this is, again, one of the better teams you're going to see. I definitely would suggest maybe not using all members of that team. I've always been a purist. If I'm running a theme team, I try and have members who actually played for that team, like Johan Santana. Obviously, it's not a Twins card. He doesn't get the boost, but it makes sense why he's here. We'll look at some other theme teams, but to be honest, I think if you really want to capitalize on using theme teams to the best of your ability, it is not using the full Tier 3 boost. It's not using all 26 squad members as members of that team, because you could really upgrade your God Squad with captains. This, right now, is what I'm rocking with on my best possible team. Check out the bench, the starting rotation, all the way down to the bullpen. There are some alterations that I could use to make my team even better. Now, I have mostly every card in the game, so I don't know if this necessarily makes the best possible team better, but if you don't have Beltran, if you don't have Scott Rowland, if you don't have all these 99s, you definitely could improve things here. The problem is you do have to use these captains in your starting lineup. That's just how it is. For the hitter captains, that's what you've got to do. But you could take Bo Naylor. You could take Andrew Miller, maybe a couple starting pitchers that can just stay on the staff here. Then all of a sudden, you have 2 captains that you can assign, +5 power versus both ways, +5 fielding, +5 K per 9, and +5 contact both ways, +5 batting clutch, +5 hits per 9. And then you've got a 99 Jose Ramirez. And Bo Naylor really does become quite a good hitter as well. You really can mix and match how you would like to. I think for lots of people, if you have like 2-3 cards from one team that you really do enjoy, put a couple back-end starters, get the captain eligibility for Tier 1, and for a team like the Cleveland Guardians, who offer +5 for Tier 1, this is a big advantage. If you have a couple cards from a certain team that you do really enjoy, you're going to make them parallel 10, essentially. Now, talking about some of the best themed teams that I've seen, I think starting with the American League East, the Boston Red Sox is pretty great. You've got so many great hitters, from David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. You've got Alex Bregman, the new Masataka Yoshida, Jason Varitek. You've got really good offensive players that are only going to get better. Not by a ton, they only elicit +6, but you do have hitter and pitcher captains, so you get contact, you get power, you get clutch. It really does come in handy. The New York Yankees, another good one. Yes, their boost is minuscule, but that's because the theme team is so good. They've got lots of good cards already, so it doesn't make any sense to boost them by +15, +20 like the lesser squads. The Yankees have maybe the best possible cards that you could boost within any theme team that again has dual captains in Babe Ruth and Heel. The Detroit Tigers, I think, have to be up there as well, at least offensively. They are a juggernaut. They've got some really good cards that are already solid, but really get raised up with the +10s on contact, power, batting clutch, and reaction time with the Javi boost. You take a card like Colt Keith or Kerry Carpenter, Javi Baez, Gleyber Torres, the Willie Castro. Good Lord. That Willie Castro is almost Beltran tier with this boost. The Milwaukee Brewers are honestly a pretty fun offensive team to use, but sadly only offensively. Once again, that's where you really get into some trouble. If you want to fully utilize a whole theme team, I just don't think you're going to replace your God Squad, at least not yet. They're going to put out more cards. But the Milwaukee Brewers, for example, just don't have very many pitchers that you're going to want to use. You've got Raleigh Fingers, you've got Josh Hader, you got a couple good relievers. But, I mean, your ace is going to be Lime Series Freddie Peralta. It's not ideal. I mean, really, you could kind of go down the line. The best ones really are the ones with reciprocating captains, hitter and pitchers that you can stack on top of each other, like Luis Heel and Babe Ruth for the Yankees, Brian Abreu and Craig Biggio for the Houston Astros, Ben Joyce, Bobby Grich, that's a good one, Royce Lewis, Jim Cott, Austin Riley, and Tom Glavine for the Braves. Those tend to be the best ones, and the teams that have like 2 hitter or 2 pitcher just kind of missed the mark, because you look at Nico Horner, for example, and the Cubs have a pretty good theme team. The Cubs have lots of good cards, but the boost, it's +15 power right, +15 vision, 10 fielding, 15 BB9. All those attributes are important, but I think like contact and power, because like the Tigers are getting +10 contact, power, clutch. They're getting +50 offensively, like really big attributes. And then Nico Horner only gives 15 power right, 15 vision, which vision's an important stat. It's just not as important as like contact or power. 10 fielding, most of the great Cub cards like Dansby and Pete Crow, they've got good fielding already. Not balanced, like JT Realmuto, +10 contact and power against lefties. You're going to face right-handed pitching too, so that's obviously a disadvantage opposed to a team that gives buffs versus both sides. They try hard with some of these, like that's a lot of attributes for getting tier 3 using the Rays, plus 20 contact and power against righties, but they don't have a lot of good cards, and again, you have to hit versus lefties too. It really is frustrating that they did not plan this a little bit better. I get they had fan voting, so that was part of it. You know, for the NL East, they had the fans vote on it, but you should have made sure that there's dual captains. I think they do try, even the Cubs, for example, they have a better theme team, so they get a good amount of attributes. And I know they're modeling these boosts after the player. That's kind of their goal. You know, like Nico Horner is going to boost fielding because he's a good fielder in real life. But it certainly gives those teams, those fans using these theme teams the short end of the stick. I mean, by far, I think the worst team for theme teams is probably Washington. They don't have many good cards already. This was a fan-voted card, mind you, but now they have 2 hitter captains, and somehow he only boosts 10 power, 10 vision, 10 K per 9, which feels insane because they have 12 flashback cards. They have 1 Live Series gold. And a lot of their diamond cards aren't particularly great, like this Andre Dawson right here, or their lower over. You can't even use the gold Mackenzie Gore because there's this diamond, so they don't have any Live Series golds that you would actually get to utilize. So some of these, it's just, did we think like actually about balancing or no? But overall, I still think they did a pretty good job with Team Affinity here. You know, these cards might not be the best at their position, but they're all, for the most part, pretty damn good cards that get really good with the captain boost. And a lot of teams, they really revived captains, which I am happy to say that. I've definitely seen way more captains already throughout this past week than I have in the entirety of MLB 25. Although one downside you will have is, again, I mentioned I don't think these teams are quite up to snuff with the best you could possibly have. And if you want to use a theme team, I think you go into it knowing, unless you just like take the Tigers offense and have Clemens and John Donaldson pitch for you, because you're going to be at a disadvantage. That happened to me. Every time, and I'm up in like the 800-900s for ranked season, so I'm going to face more collection teams. But every time I was going up against a parallel 5 John Donaldson, I drew Roger Clemens, who I had to face off against, which most of these offenses are good, but the pitching is just not great. It does not have the attributes to match up with 99 Beltran and 99 Hodges and 99 Scott Rowland. So it is tough. I almost wish there was a mode where you could utilize theme teams more and not have to worry about going up against the God Squads every time. Yeah, like somewhere you could have fun is essentially what I'm saying. So for fun, we'll take the Twins. We'll get to tier 3 boost, 18 out of 26 players, because they've got a lot of good players that get great with the Royce and Jim Cott captain boost. And we'll see how good we could possibly make the team. And here is what we came up with. In my opinion, a really great team. You know, you've got the staples, the guys that would be on my team anyway. My God Squad, my best possible team, Carlos Beltran, Gil Hodges, even though I don't love the card, I'd maybe have Jamer Candelario instead of him. Ismani Grandal, Jose Ramirez. They're killers. They're like at the forefront of my main team lineup, and they still can be featured prominently here. Ellie de la Cruz also. You could easily swap that with like Willie Castro, Lindor, Ketel Marte, whoever you like at shortstop. I've been liking Ellie recently. And you take these Twins, which are already good. Buxton's on my main team, and you give him +8 contact, +8 power, +8 vision, +8 batting clutch, which really helps them out. Brian Dozier, this card is fantastic already, and then you just add on +8. He doesn't even have any parallels yet. Royce Lewis, already a good card, gets even better with his own buff. Harrison Bader, the same thing with him. Now, the bench, unfortunately, is not fantastic. It's all Twins, which are going to be featured here. It's not ideal bench. But the rotation, I mean, we have the Rocket. We have Roger Clemens. What else could you really need? You really only need one pitcher at any given time in the starting spot. Now, granted, you will not regen stamina if you don't have other guys on the team, but if you want to cycle in starters, you can do that. You don't need 5 starters that you might not have used anyway. So you can add a couple guys to the bullpen, and it still is not perfect, but we have Aroldis Chapman, Danny Coulomb. You know, most teams have at least a couple, one hopefully good reliever, Darren O'Day. So those are 3 big guys that I count on for my main team. And then you still have like a Griffin Jacks who's solid. I mean, he's up to like an 87 with the buffs that I give him. He's got a good pitch mix already. You know, he still is a pretty good card, all things considered. And then you have Brock Stewart, Cole Sands, Topa, and Yohan Duran. And at that point, if you've got a couple holes in your team, you can really make a badass squad. Like, this gets close. I don't have the Scott Rowland, the 99 on my team, even though I'm not like the biggest fan of that card anyway. But if you've got cards with great swings that you like and you can run a little captain boost, or if you want to have fun with a theme team, you can definitely do so now. You are now capable, especially with those double captain eligibility. It realistically, again, like I said, it's just not as good if you don't have the 2 captains, which sucks because there's probably at least 10 fan bases, 10 teams that got screwed. I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head. The Rays, the Orioles, the Blue Jays. That's 3 in the American League East. The Athletics, the Phillies. There's a good amount of teams that just don't get as good of captains as they probably should because they didn't cycle them, which they've always made a point to do with Team Affinity. For all the shit, for all the stuff we talk about with MLB 24, they did captains excellently. Captains were at the forefront. Team building was really good in MLB 24. And you saw lots of variety because there were so many different captains that you could run, even if people only did the, the Carlos Santana theme team. But I hope you guys give it a shot. Play around with it. Send me some screenshots out on Twitter. Let me know in the comment section down below some theme teams that get really good. And we're going to have more cards that are going to come out that make these even better. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like down below. Thank you so very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.